So just a little more about circumcision, because it probably needs a little bit more clarity. That every by nothing ever happens by random chance or occurrence. Every part of biology has a function and a purpose, including our appendix, which is basically a mineral and metal storage system. It's basically a mineral storage system. It's a storage hole for minerals, and that's why so many of us get that taken out of, because it's been bombarded with chemicals and stuff that's not supposed to be exposed to. It's why so few of us can last in bed for very long, because that very vital part of your male organ, one of the most sensitive parts of your body, is being exposed and constantly touching the air, to the environment, to your partner. Guys, you're not crazy. You don't have a dysfunction in your system when you can only last so long, when you're so exposed. Unless you numb yourself, you will literally be driven towards those biological processes. You will be driven crazy for the rest of your life, in one way or another. That's why so many of us feel as we do. It is not natural, and it is not the way of spirit. It was never meant to be this way. It is why when you watch any circumcision video, I don't care male or female, it is so horrible and wrong to do that to a child. When Jesus spoke to Joseph in the Gospel of Thomas, he said, if the male being, if you were meant to be born circumcised, God would have already had it that way. But there is a reason and purpose for that. Is so that you aren't overexposed, so that your body and your systems remain in balance, so that your systems aren't constantly being driven downwards towards a biological process of procreation. Churches really supported this because it allowed the most amount of children to be born. Because when you can't last that long, you shoot your load too early, and that creates more revenue and money for them. Big deal. I don't care if you suffer, I get more revenue. And so they were all for it. Not all churches, not all religions are like this, but it was very heavily influenced by the Illuminati. And you have to understand this. Those guys had their hands in everything, and they screwed up so much of our lives. And that's why, even though they're not here, we are still feeling the effects of it today. You're not crazy, and you're not losing your minds to want to wank off every day, every other day. With the foods, the proteins that you eat, those refined proteins. If you eat peanuts, if you eat beef, those because there's such a heavy and slow form of protein, it does not move out of the system. Your body sends so much chemicals into it that it drives everything downwards into a chemical. You're under a chemical attack, and so your body basically goes into survival mode and says, please, let's reproduce before we die. What is going on? We are not safe. The only biological recourse for that is to reproduce. If animals won't eat the food that we eat, when you offer it to them, and they have the choice of eating something that's completely natural versus something that's man-made, generated from the system, these low nutrient systems, all this cornmeal stuff, all these refined proteins, all this refined nutrients, refined sugars, refined salts. We're not meant to be consuming sodium. We're meant to be consuming sea salt, balanced chemicals and ingredients. And we can't do that if the very systems that we exist and rely upon never allow that in the first place. You look upon almost any water bottle, any food ingredient, and almost all of it is using refined sodium. And that's not ideal. That drains and leaches your system of nutrients. Refined sugar, same way. Refined flour, same way. Same thing. Refined protein is probably the worst. That really puts your body into overdrive. And so please, to any mother, parent, to any father, please do not circumcise your children, because you are taking away a valuable future for them of ever experiencing a loving and full-on relationship with their partner, of a deep connection with what the energy that she has. She needs that stimulation. She needs him to stay with him longer. Women, your hearts are not as strong as ours. That is when y'all do not move around enough, when y'all do not smile, your nervous system does not flow enough towards your inner organs. Your organs do not get fed. That's why a lot of you develop breast cancer. That's why we develop ovarian cancer. It's because you're not being stimulated enough. You need to be smiled, hugged upon every day, sent energy, sent love, sent compassion, or at least exercise daily, or at least exercise sometime. You need to get outside, you need to get sunlight, you need to get healthy foods, healthy atmosphere, healthy hugs, healthy and supportive people, a supportive community like this. No, it's not meant to be this way. It's not supposed to be this way. This isn't what God had intended for all of us. This isn't the way of the universe. This isn't how it's supposed to be. We're not all supposed to be working 9 to 5 jobs for the rest of our lives. We're not supposed to be taxed to death for the rest of our lives. We're not supposed to have land that we can never own without ever paying taxes for it the rest of our lives. None of us have complete ownership of our lands. None of us have complete ownership of our bodies, being forced chemicals and vaccines which we did not ask for, which are not designed to support our health. Hello, that's pretty wrong. That is messed up. That's a very messed up system. Add past lives on top of that, and you get a big curly mess. A very, very big curly mess. The Illuminati was all about control, about keeping the consciousness of humanity small. Anything that they could do to hold you back as a development, a source of spirit, to make your lives miserable as hell so that you could never fully develop in consciousness, basically take away all your free time by demanding that you pay for this and that and work this and this for basically for the rest of your lives, so you never can make peace or time for yourselves. That's dangerous. That's why so many of us are like this. Circumcision was never the way of things. And there is something that you can do about it. You can practice Kegel muscle exercise, your PC muscles. And if you squeeze them hard enough, you can basically recirculate your seminal fluid back into your nervous system. That is what the Kundalini, the rising up of the Superint, is all about. It's basically restoring your own energy, your own vital systems. Guys, please do not waste your sperm. Your nervous system is full. Your nervous system is full of metal salts, and your body uses your nervous system as a storehold of nutrients to basically drive a biological process for your partners. And when you release that load into the atmosphere, when you put it upon barren earth, you drain your body of those nutrients. It's why so many of you, it takes weeks to restore those nutrients, especially from the foods you eat if you're not eating very healthy. And not a lot of us were taught that. Sex ed doesn't really teach you much of anything. It doesn't tell you why or how. At least ours didn't. We had too many fools who would never shut up. Ooh, anyways, but please understand that this was never the way it was meant to be. For so many things. Guys, women, our men are not crazy. We're just circumcised. exposed to circumstances that were beyond our control. Through the vaccines that were given, it makes it hard to feel your own biology, your own hearts. You can't even feel when you guys are really truly afraid. When your nerves are coated in that aqueous mercury, it's a metal salt. It makes it very hard to feel compassion, to feel love, to feel anything, to feel one another. And that's why so many of us are argumentative. Because if you could feel the misery in one another, you would not do it for very long. You would not do it to each other. You would feel and recognize when you have stepped the boundaries of going too far, of crossing her safety, of crossing her borders. No man, woman, parent, or child ever wants to hear these stories or to have this happen to them. But these experiences make us whom we are as people. They help us to grow, to learn, and become better people. And we all start off as fools one day. Every master. So please, do not circumcise your kids, your children. They do not deserve that. They do not deserve that pain and that humiliation so early on in age. It's why so many of us are so traumatized at birth, because we are put in these little cubbies, these storage lockers, basically not being held, not being touched for days, when we should be comforted almost instantly. Your skin, when you're born, is so exposed, is so cold, so fresh, is so new. You need to be held. You need to be loved upon. You need to be held by human skin, by your mother's heart. You need to be held against her, by at least your father, if nothing else. He's got a strong heart as well, and he can't help but love you when he sees you. I know this is a long tirade, but I need to get as much information out there as possible to you guys, because frankly, a lot of this has not been said for long enough. It's been too long that these things haven't been said. And so I'm very glad to get this opportunity to share this with all of you right now. So thank you guys all out there. You have no idea how special, how blessed of a time that we are in. Even with as messed up as our systems are, the chemicals and exposures and all that, we are so blessed. You have no idea how bad humanity was 20, 50 years ago, 200 years ago. We were animals 200 years ago. Conquest and rulers, very few laws, the Wild West. What was it, 300 years ago, 400 years ago? We were killing left and right. No law of the land, no dignity or respect for women almost at all. Brothels and bars and drinks and basically wastelands because we didn't respect the earth. We didn't respect each other. So please, let's do what we can to reach for a deeper understanding in spirit. And know that what a lot of guys are going through, we didn't really ask for. Women, you as well. The estrogens in our food, it's why all your breasts are so big. It's basically a coerced system funded by every rich man in the world to just have something beautiful. I don't know, have something. Yeah, it's wrong. I don't want this for my children. So let's do what we can to change these systems, to notify the correct people. We shouldn't be attacking each other. We need to be changing the systems calmly as possible, steadily as possible, gradually if nothing else. But change we must. Change we must do. That is a requirement of life. Life is always changing. It is always growing. It is demanded of us as biology, as spirit, as spiritual beings, as souls, as biology. We must change. We must learn. We must grow. We must become stronger. We must become more wise, more noble in spirit, more kind of heart. We've developed technology and speed and cleverness, but we need compassion. We need kindness. We need understanding. We need open-heartedness. You are so loved. You are so loved. Please know that. And you have teachers doing the best they can all the time to help teach you these proper foundations, these basics.